When a climate catastrophe hits, the response is almost always a race against time, a frantic scramble for money and aid. But what if we could flip that script? What if a country could build a financial shield, a system that just automatically deploys life-saving funds the very moment a disaster strikes? Well, today, we're going to dive into a pretty groundbreaking plan to do exactly that for Pakistan, one of the most climate-vulnerable nations on Earth. Okay, let's start with a number, and honestly, it's a number that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. 33 million. That's how many people in Pakistan were affected by the massive floods back in 2022. To give you some perspective, that is more than the entire population of Australia. Just a staggering human cost. And the financial hit? Just as massive. The initial price tag for the damage from those floods was $15 billion. For any country, that is an absolutely catastrophic economic shock, one that sends ripples through every part of the economy for years. So where do you even start with a problem this huge? In this explainer, we're going to walk through both the challenge and a really interesting potential solution. First, we'll look at why Pakistan is so vulnerable in a cascade of crises. Then, we'll break down why the old way of doing things is broken in the high cost of waiting. After that, we'll get into the exciting stuff, a new financial toolkit. And finally, we'll see how it all could work in from plan to payout. All right, first things first, we have to understand the sheer scale of the threat here. Because Pakistan isn't just dealing with one kind of climate disaster, it's facing this constant overlapping cascade of crises. And what's just wild is the variety of risks. I mean, we've all seen the images of the monsoon floods, but the country also faces this incredibly unique threat called glacial lake outburst floods, or GLOFs. It's exactly what it sounds like. Melting glaciers form these unstable lakes that can suddenly burst, sending literal walls of water crashing down mountains. On top of that, you've got intense heat waves, brutal droughts, earthquakes, and coastal storm surges. It's a relentless battle on multiple fronts. So, all these constant threats, they really shine a spotlight on a huge problem with how we usually handle disasters. Because the issue isn't just the event itself, it's the incredibly high cost of waiting for help to finally show up. Yeah, just think about that for a second. A third of your country is flooded. Millions of people have lost their homes. Where does the money for food, for shelter, for medicine, where does it actually come from right now? Well, the answer is often complicated and painfully slow. I mean, this is where leaders face these just gut-wrenching choices. Do you take money that was supposed to build schools and hospitals and use it for disaster relief instead? Do you take on massive, high-interest loans that will saddle the country with debt for decades? Or do you put out an appeal to the world and just wait, hoping help comes, and comes quickly? Every one of those options means delays, and those delays can literally cost lives. And this is where the big idea really clicks into place. It's a total shift in thinking. On the left, you've got the old way. It's reactive. You wait for the disaster, you try to figure out how bad the damage is, and then you ask for money. It's slow and it's uncertain. But on the right, you have this new model, parametric finance. It's proactive. It is fast. We're talking days, not months. And the payout is certain because it was all agreed on beforehand. It isn't triggered by someone's opinion on the damage. It's triggered by cold, hard data. Okay, so this brings us to the solution on the table. A new financial toolkit called SADRIF-PK. And you should think of it less like an insurance policy and more like a financial first responder, designed to get cash on the scene before the chaos truly sets in. So how does this whole thing actually work? Well, the secret sauce is something called a parametric trigger. It's a simple idea, but it's so powerful. Before anything bad happens, everyone agrees on a specific, measurable event, like a river hitting a certain danger level or satellite data showing a crazy amount of rain in one area. The second that data point crosses the pre-agreed line, boom, the funds are automatically released. No arguments, no assessments. It's basically a financial smoke alarm for a natural disaster. What I love about this plan is that it's not just one thing. It's built with 3 distinct layers of protection. This is key because it's totally different from traditional aid, which just kind of flows in one direction. This system aims for resilience from the top all the way down to the bottom, covering the government, the country's infrastructure, and individual families. So, at the very top, the macro level, a major disaster would trigger a huge, immediate cash injection right into the national treasury. This gives the government the money it needs right away for a big, coordinated response, getting rescue teams out, setting up shelters, distributing food without waiting around or going into debt. Then you've got that middle layer, the Meso level.
And this is all about the stuff that keeps society running. When a critical bridge gets washed away or the power grid goes down, this payout is earmarked to get those essential services back online fast. Getting roads and bridges fixed is absolutely crucial for getting aid where it needs to go.
And then, and this might be the most game-changing part of all, you have the micro level. Just imagine you're a small farmer and your fields are suddenly underwater. Instead of waiting for weeks, hoping for help, a data trigger, maybe from a satellite that sees your crops are gone, sends a cash payout directly to your mobile phone. Just like that. That money lets you buy food for your family and seeds for the next season. It's what stops a disaster from becoming a permanent slide into poverty. Now, to make this work on the ground, especially at that micro level, you have to build trust. And that's where a system called Takaful comes in. It's a form of community-based insurance that's compliant with Islamic financial principles. So instead of a typical policy, it's more like a co-op, where members all contribute to a shared fund to help each other out when they need it. It's a model built on mutual support, so it's a really natural fit. Okay, so the concept is brilliant, but let's be real, how do you actually take an idea this big and make it happen? Let's look at the plan for getting from a blueprint to actual payouts that make a difference. Well, they've got a clear step-by-step roadmap, which is so important for something this ambitious. It kicks off with 6 months of just designing and diagnosing, getting the foundations solid. Then comes a year of the really heavy technical work, building the data models and the triggers. After that, it moves to a careful pilot launch to test it all out before finally scaling it up for the whole country. It's a real plan, not just a nice idea. And they're not trying to boil the ocean here. The pilot program is super focused and, totally manageable. The goals are to set up a $250 million national fund for big floods, test out that Takaful system with 50,000 farmers, and create a smaller, specialized fund just for those dangerous glacial lake outburst floods. Each piece is designed to prove that the whole system can work. And this quote really just nails why this is so important. $250 million delivered in 1 to 2 weeks. That can be the difference between an effective response and a chaotic one. It stops the government from having to make those awful choices we talked about and from taking on crippling debt just to get started. So, let's wrap this up. What's the bottom line? Well, the benefits could be transformative. For one, you get faster aid, which saves lives. You protect the most vulnerable people from losing everything. The country avoids getting trapped in a cycle of disaster-driven debt. Plus, it opens up a whole new way to bring private and Islamic finance into the fight for climate resilience. And as a bonus, just by building this thing, you end up creating way better data and disaster management systems for the long haul. And that really leaves us with a big question to think about. We've been talking about this plan for Pakistan, but the model itself, it could be a blueprint for vulnerable nations all over the world. As climate shocks get more and more common, is this kind of proactive, data-driven financial shield the key to building a truly resilient future for all of us?